Welcome to Razzball Radio for Wednesday, June 25th. It's Wednesday, of course, so we talk news with the main guy over at Razzball.com, Gray. Welcome to Razzball Radio, brother.
What up, yo?
Well,
Don't
listen.
You have to, say TVMASLNV or something?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
TV for mature audiences, strong language, nudity, or violence?
I'm okay with that. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, right? I actually heard from Cougs that I am in front of a significant piece of art.
You know, I wanted to ask about that. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a whiteboard with some notes on it.
It has a Wikipedia page, supposedly.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, but now I'm thinking about eBay.
All right, listen, let's get to some fantasy baseball news. I throw some ownership numbers out at you here. Homer Bailey, 92%, Jake Peavy, 42%, and Jake Arrieta, 54%. Which one of those three doesn't belong?
I'd go with, wait, was there a C? Because you always choose C. Arrieta obviously should be owned a lot more. Last night he threw another magnificent game. It was against the Reds, who surprisingly, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but the Reds are not a very good team this year offensively. Like, really bad. Like, bottom 5 in the league. We're talking around the level of the Padres. Like, the Reds are not good, which is surprising because every year I feel like people always consider the Reds one of the stronger offensive teams.
Well, they were, but you're right. It's they're going on name value right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you used to want to avoid them in Great American, but right now the Reds they're not good. But that shouldn't take away completely from Arrieta. He's still been terrific so far this year. He has upped his usage of a cutter, which in previous years the cutter for him has been a really good pitch, but for whatever reason he didn't throw it. Probably due to the fact that people have said that the cutter causes some arm issues, and you can lose velocity in the long term if you use a cutter too much. But anyway, he's upped his use of the cutter, and it's a dominant pitch for him, and he's using it now 20% of the time. He's upped his swings and misses to about, like, he's top 25 in the league. His walks have been an issue in past years, but they've really come down. He's he's really right now, he's not that far off from a guy that should be owned in even the shallowest leagues, and probably should be. I mean, as he's pitching well, definitely. But he looks like his peripherals don't say, well, he's getting lucky. Like, for instance, Danny Duffy. He is a guy that has been getting lucky and he's nowhere near the pitcher that is like a 2.5 ERA right now. Where Arrieta looks like he could be that pitcher.
Yeah, it looks like he's really made adjustments, and his command is there this year, which has been a big reason he's had so much success. Obviously, too, don't forget, people, this guy was a top prospect just a couple of years ago. The O's gave up on him, and he wound up in Chicago. Okay, you brought up Cincinnati's lack of offense. The one guy that's been carrying them on offense is Devin Mesoraco. Now, obviously, he came out with a 480 average in April.
And Todd Frazier.
Yeah, correct, yes. Mesoraco's hit about 260 since April, but the homers are there, the powers are there, he's driving in runs. Are you going to have a hard time ranking him as the #1 player going into the 2015 draft?
Who am I, Roto World? Yeah, I don't agree with. Well, Mesoraco, actually, we could use him as an example and go backwards with what should be done. So you don't ever draft a high catcher, and Mesoraco is the reason. So next year he's going to be much higher, and people are going to be drafting him and overranking him and overrating him, and he's going to be. And then next year there will be another Mesoraco it always works out that way. There's never a situation where you can't get a decent enough catcher later on. For instance, Buster Posey, the year he won the MVP, he was ranked at the end of the year at our Razzball player rater, which accounts for position eligibility. So it boosts him up because he has catcher eligibility. But Buster Posey, in his MVP year, was still barely a top 30 overall player. So you're looking at the best possibility for a catcher, and you're still only top 30. Because a great catcher, while terrific, it's still Buster Posey in his MVP year won. I mean, he hit 25 homers. He hit over 300. He had about 100 RBIs, which are all great, but Giancarlo has nearly done all that already, and
Right.
it's not even July. So like the best catcher is still not as good as the 10th best outfielder.
Yeah, absolutely. The only time you should be focusing on catcher is if you are in two catcher leagues. Real quick before we go to break, Marco Gonzales pitches tonight for the Cardinals at Coors. I do the numbers every morning. I crunch them through the Hittertron, through the Streaminator, looking at the stats. I have never seen statistics show a team is going to destroy a pitcher like Marco Gonzales tonight. Just real quick, does Gonzales have any chance against the Rockies, or are you stack attacking the Rockies every single place you can? Actually, it's an afternoon game, actually.
Yeah, no, I don't trust rookies on either side of the equation, really. He could come out of nowhere and have a great game just because no one's familiar with his stuff. He has a great changeup. He could catch hitters off guard and have or a decent enough game. But I also, on the other hand, I wouldn't start him either because, yeah, he could get totally
No, of
crushed
course
by
you're not going to start it. I was just pointing it out that it's kind of like an outlier, the
I
stats.
wouldn't go either way. Like, for instance, the like if you go to today's games, the guys who like you want.
You know what? Let's do this, Gray. We'll come back to this right after this here on Razzball Radio. All right, we're back on Razzball Radio with Gray Albright at Razzball. I am, of course, Nick Capozzi at Nick Capozzi, Nickcapozzi. Before the break, we were talking about stacking hitters, and you were getting to the point where you were saying that if you're going to stack, you want to go against the pitcher with a track record so you know what you're getting, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So like someone like Hector Nosey, he's someone who I would stack against because all the hitters in the league already know he's got terrible stuff. He's going to go out and he's going to get hit hard, and it's a safer bet to go against. It's more of a known. There's also, speaking of known, something that isn't known that much is that Carlos Beltran was going to pay to have Nosey's last name changed.
Okay. George Springer obviously has caused a lot of excitement this year, and rightfully so.
Can I explain for you? Because there's going to be people out there that will understand that, but Beltran paid for John Neese to have a nose job.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I got to Google that.
His nose was so bad on the Mets that Beltran was like, I can't deal with your nose anymore. I'm paying for a nose job. I swear to God, that is a true story.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. Okay, back to George Springer. Obviously got off to an unbelievable start, and he's been playing well. The numbers are great, but here is the numbers that are a little bit scary. He struck out 83 times in 225 at-bats. That's just lunacy. Is he a guy you got to trade right now? Because obviously with those kind of strikeout numbers, this is not going to last.
Yeah, I would in redraft leagues. I would say you would trade someone like Springer because his name value is going to get you a lot more than his actual value. I wouldn't be surprised if by August we're like, why is Springer batting 210?
Right.
I don't understand. What's going on? Is he really a 210 hitter? I don't think long term, but right now he is striking out at historic levels. It's real. Like, he is probably going to hit around I say within 10 points of Adam Dunn is what Springer's batting average will end up at,
So the takeaway there is
insane.
go trade him now while you can. A guy you could possibly pick up, and this is someone Sky brought up yesterday, and then when we were talking about deep leagues,
Was
is
it Sky or his wife?
it was awesome. On yesterday's show, Sky's wife walked in. It was great. Hi, Holly. So Steve Pearce of the Baltimore Orioles went 2 for 3 yesterday, hit his 7th home run, hitting 344 on the year. Sky was really high on him. Obviously, 344 average is nice, but
When you say high, you mean Colorado,
no,
Rocky Mountain high?
no, he's from Oregon. So no,
Oh, so he's high is
it's just
same,
high, just high.
same.
Where are you on Steve Pearce?
He's just a hot bat. He's nothing wonderful. Steve Pearce is someone who's swinging a hot bat, sort of like JD Martinez. Also, swinging a hot bat, ride them while they're hot, and then put them away when they're wet. No, that's
Okay. So JD Martinez also is he have a 13-game hit streak. He's available in like 60% of leagues. So that is the definition of a hot schmatado. Hey, let me ask you something.
hot, putting away wet.
Okay.
Does not sound right.
You know what? Over the last 4 years, Adrian Beltre has averaged over 30 homers, over 100 RBI, and a 315 average. Is it me, or does this guy kind of get no respect? And I think this year, because the Rangers haven't hit as well as they traditionally do, he's a little bit under the radar. Listen, obviously he's owned everywhere, but my question is here, is he a guy that is one of those guys that has a track record and name value, but has been so consistent? He's kind of like a Miggy Light, that he's a bit underrated, and maybe he's a guy you could go out and get in a deal.
I'll come back to Adrian Beltre, but I'd like to say also the comatose Rangers fan, the fan who went into a coma in March and just came out, and or went on a long 3-month vacation and is just coming back to the country and saw Carlos Pena at first base for them. I'm concerned because they're probably like, so are we in first place? Where's Prince Fielder? Why are we not starting Prince? Is it just like he's having an off night because our team is doing so well? What's going on with my Rangers? I'm really excited to get back in the swing of things. We're in first place. We must be, right?
I can't believe Carlos Pena is on a major league team at this point.
Yeah. Actually, Carlos Pena I say he bats 150 for 45 games and then is released again in August. That's my over under on him.
Yeah.
Beltre, he was drafted, I think, around 15th overall. I mean, that's not really underrated.
No, but I think, okay, what I'm trying to say is that he's a guy that on name value maybe isn't as sexy as other guys. So, and yeah, I'm agreeing with you where he got drafted. The stats have been great, although he's only got 8 homers this year, right? So I'm not saying a buy low, but is he a guy maybe you could get on 85 cents on the dollar if you're working out a big trade with someone?
Yeah, maybe you can get 85 cents on the dollar for him just because of psychologically people are like, well, the Rangers are terrible this year, so Beltre is not going to be as good. I'm gonna trade him just because I'm worried. I mean, I think it's kind of silly, and I would buy Beltre for 85 cents on the dollar, but I don't think. I don't think he's not nearly. He's not bad. He's sort of like, I would say he's in the top 5 for third baseman, and he's a sound, healthy investment in the top 5. But I don't think there's any huge upside either. Like, I don't say like, oh yeah, Beltre. Well, if he gets hot, watch out. He's not like
he's consistent, and that's what you want.
Right? Yeah, but he's not like say like a Giancarlo or a Tulo or even a Cargo who's hurt right now. If those guys get hot, then it's like, okay, they can carry a fantasy team.
Right.
Beltre gets hot, yeah, it's good. It's totally usable and worthy of a top 20 overall player, but it's
It is what it is.
It's more Josh Donaldson like.
All right.
Where it's like solid but not amazing.
We got to go to break. We'll be right back and talk about what happened in Anaheim yesterday with the Angels bullpen situation right after this. We're back here at Razzball Radio. Thanks for joining us. So yesterday, Joe Smith got the save, although he did give up a run, but he had a couple strikeouts. This is, Smokey was on with us this week. Of course, Smokey, our loogie out of the bullpen. And he was saying that this Anaheim situation might be one of the worst he's ever seen in terms of a bullpen. Is there anything to take away from Joe Smith getting the save?
Smokey said the Anaheim bullpen's one of the worst he's ever seen.
No, in terms of trying to.
What about Belisario? Belisario is possibly the worst closer of the last 5 years. There is no chance Belisario comes into a game and not gives up a run, whether it's inherited or not. There's no possibility. He could be in a softball league with Matt Stairs, Greg Luzinski, and Dave Winfield and Daisy Fuentes, and Belisario will give up a run. Guaranteed.
Okay, where he was going with that is that in terms of trying to pick who's going to get the saves. No, look, there's some good pitchers there, no question. His again, point was who's going to get the saves there, and how are you going to predict that?
Well, I think what the point was possibly is that the sociopath, the manager, Mike Scioscia, the sociopath, has some sort of affinity for Ernesto Ferrari, which is just mind-boggling, and he always wants to put him in the ninth inning, even though he's not the best closer on the team. So he will use Joe Smith, and Joe Smith will probably be fine. He could be no better or worse than say the 20th best closer in the league. Joe Smith is a guy who could probably do a Latroy Hawkins for the whole season, but Scioscia wants Ferrari for whatever reason. So at some point, Ferrari will come back into the situation.
Ferrari? Listen, I want a Ferrari too.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I want a Ferrari.
Actually, you know what? I don't want a Ferrari. I would rather
Ferrari. I say Ferrari. Let's call the whole thing off.
Okay. Hold on. Let me make a note. Get mute button for Gray, or a leash.
There is no. What? Did you just mute that? Because I was.
See, you know what? I don't want a Ferrari. I would rather have a big truck. With like big wheels on it, or maybe a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van that I'm going to take on the road and host 32 fantasy football drafts in 32 straight days in all 32 NFL cities.
Wow. Smooth.
Hey, actually, speaking of which, we got a little bit of news on the tour. We closed another bar yesterday.
Nick on a Segway.
We are going to be going to the Post Sports Bar in St. Louis when we hit St. Louis on September 2nd for that event. So you can get your tickets at razzballtour.com. So great. Yesterday, Andrew Heaney pitched, rookie pitchers. I know how you feel about them. But for the guys who are just holding on and, kind of hoping and praying, especially because the NL East hasn't hit well this year, did you see anything in Heaney's start yesterday that kind of gives you a hope that he actually maybe could be useful this year?
Yeah, it was just some timely hitting. It wasn't really a terrible start. It was the Phillies got some good hits at the right time. I didn't really think it was that bad of a start. But I'll also say, just quickly, Clayton Kershaw's rookie ERA was 4.26. And Kershaw is obviously the best pitcher on the planet right now. So Heaney could be great as soon as next year. But he's a rookie, it just happens.
Yep, no, I'm with you. Regular tweeter Eric from Boston had a trade offer in his league yesterday. He gives up Gregory Polanco and George Springer. It's a keeper league. He gives up Polanco and Springer. He gets Paul Goldschmidt. You got to take Goldschmidt in that situation. Mm-hmm. Not even close, right?
You 9 out of 10 times you take the best player, and when the best player is also a top 5 overall player, yeah, it's no brainer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told him. I said you got to do that deal.
Like we've already said, Springer could hit 210. Polanco could get injured, or he could be maybe Desmond Jennings. Desmond Jennings looked amazing too his rookie year. I mean, take Goldschmidt. It's not even close.
No, I'm with you on that. One last guy I want to talk about, Derek Holland getting close to coming back for the Rangers. I don't know if he's even worth stashing. Probably not, but the real question here is, see what I did there? See what I did there?
That's a good pun.
Thanks, buddy. Well, that was my question. I mean, if we had a mustache contest, who would win, you or Derek Holland?
Is Holland a mustache?
That's a no, correct?
Nah.
Okay. Actually, you know what? We got one more quick minute here, so let me really quickly. Travis d'Arnaud got called up, had a pretty good game yesterday. Obviously, his numbers are terrible for the year. But talking about catchers getting hot, if this guy can ever stay healthy, he could be elite. Again, we know how Gray and feels about catchers, but Travis d'Arnaud, kind of interesting maybe if we're looking at catchers for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I would definitely. I'd pick him up if I was struggling at catcher. Like if maybe you picked up Joe Mauer in the first round due to some other site's advice.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today, Gray. Listen, we're going to have a really great guest tomorrow. Larry Schechter is joining us on Razzball Radio. Yeah, Larry's a great guy. He wrote the book on how to win fantasy baseball. Yeah, no, I muted you again. Larry is a great guest, really smart guy. This guy, if you go through the expert leagues, this guy's got all the titles. So Larry Schechter is going to join us tomorrow on Razzball Radio. Gray, really appreciate you joining us today. We'll talk to you next week. Okay, brother?
All right, late.
All right, we're out of here. Thanks again for joining us on Razzball Radio. See you tomorrow.